Hey y'all, my name is Blake Daniels and we're at my studio here in 𝐿𝑎𝑘𝑒𝑠 just outside Paris. Around me right now is really the body of work I've been creating since the beginning of this year when I was down south at the Dragon Hill artist residency, and it's a group of work that's gonna fall under the exhibition title Land Between the Lakes, which is a place that my dad would go fishing in almost once a year that I myself had never been to, but it was a place as a child that I would create these kind of fantastical myths in my head about, you know, what is this land between the lakes? What is this place that is out of reach? It was a place of escapism, it was a place of imagination, and it was a place of kind of wild dreams that I would have. So when I came upon the show, it became obvious that this was going to be a shift from the last expositions, which were focused mostly around the landscapes in South Africa, and in Johannesburg specifically, in the way that city became, you know, a way for me to collect past stories and past memories and deal with queer politic and deal with also a deep sense of longing and not sadness, but displacement I had after moving out of Joburg almost 7 years ago. A big thing I'm looking at inside this exposition specifically is kind of actually creating this cohesive world, not just this kind of loose gathering of memory or of human emotion, or these humanistic aspects, which is very present in my last work. But there is these fundamentals that are so basic that ultimately are my motivations, and they're around these cycles of life and death, these cycles of history, these cycles of a day, of a studio practice, of coming in and leaving every day. And I kind of have these funny little rituals that are a part of the process. And I think I really wanted to bring this into this exposition in a direct way. And so when I started writing a lot and thinking about this land between the lakes as almost this like operatic space, or this space that could exist within a play or a production, I started really mythologizing this world that is in constant renewal, that every day and night. But then really in the process for me, it becomes about responding. As I've spoken about before, this love of returning to repeated motifs. There's often smoke, there's often these two holding figures, like in this painting, that show up in repeated other motifs. Then they start to create relationships within each other too. So the same kind of red branches that are entangling this figure show up in this landscape painting. As you can see on the floor, there's always like 6 books of whatever visual content I'm kind of leeching on at the moment, which since moving to France has naturally become heavily embodied in the Nabis and Cézanne, and this kind of trajectory of painting that has a deep history here. I think this has been a huge gift that I've given myself with this body of work, is to not feel so pressured to avoid these kinds of narratives that I think have always been present inside the work, but maybe I've obfuscated, or I've kind of hidden, or kept away from the viewer directly, even kept away from myself, and actually begin to lean into them twofold. Not with concern with where they're going, not with concern even about a certain clarity or an over narrative exposition, but actually to allow the stories to exist, to be witnessed, and to be archived about these places, these figures, and ultimately, as I've said, about my own relationship to memory, into the people in my life and the landscapes in my life, in their relationship to this human condition.